So if we talk about the moves, so for example, if you say there's an is not move,
Yep.
and that's sort of the abstraction, but I'm standing in line and I'm trying to distinguish between, do I want a hot coffee, a cold coffee, a chai, it used to be just coffee. Now there's like 400 types of coffee and milks and all kinds of things. Well, that is functionally an is not list.
Absolutely.
In my life. That's helping me decide what is my beverage. Now, that's sort of a silly example.
Yeah, but I'll give you another example that maybe not the exact same thing, which is we have these terms out there, these distinctions, these words that none of us are really clear what they mean. What does organic mean when we're at the grocery store? Does it mean what we think it means? How's it different from grass-fed?
Yeah.
How's it different from free-range? How's it different from pasture-raised? There's all these terms, right? And a lot of them are, greenwashed or meat-washed. I don't know what the word is, but a lot of them are used to manipulate us. Because, like I read the other day, what grass-fed means today is not what it meant like 10 years ago. Grass-fed meant these animals were going out and eating grass. Mm-hmm. Today, they're bringing the grass into factory farms, and the animals are in slots eating the grass. So they are literally grass-fed. So this is a manipulation, but it's a distinction problem. And the problem is none of us know what the distinctions are anymore, which, by the way, probably the industry wants that to be confusing, because then you just give up and you sort of say,
yeah, or the industry.
Which one do I buy? Like they're all the same or something.
Right.
Like
the
that.
Industry wants us to not distinguish among them. I believe they're all kind of the same thing.
Absolutely.
Even if there are some pretty significant, we should probably look that up.
Yeah.
Given that we are sort of an all organic kind of household.
Yeah.
But the idea is to keep us from distinguishing from them in a sense to sort of, I don't want to say manipulate, but maybe it is manipulate us to believe that we're eating much healthier, we're paying more for our food, and we're kind of being taken advantage because we're not distinguishing between and among them.
Right. So that's an is not list. Mm-hmm. Is not list is just, again, you take the thing, what is organic in the sense of organic food, not the word organic from biology or something or chemistry, and what is not organic.
Right.
Right? And then you make a list. It is this, it is that, it is this, and it is not this, it is not this, it is not this. And that's a simple move, but boy, across the whole spectrum of life, super important. Mm-hmm. If your team is using terminology in business or in your work, and they don't all have the same definition,
right,
that leads to all kinds of problems, right?
Yeah, you could literally just substitute the word initiative.
Initiative, yeah.
And then what's not the initiative. And how many times do we hear people say, oh, if only I had known what my boss was thinking was initiative versus what wasn't it, we would have saved a lot of time, money, and effort because I did a couple of things that were not in her distinction.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So...
and that brings up another move. Is not move.
That's much better.
That's is not. Then what you just mentioned another move, which is P circle, right? Mm-hmm. Which is that you have multiple points, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll draw a little square frame in the upper right-hand corner for the points and a view. And this is the colored in, right? So these are different things that are looking at this thing. So what you just said was my boss sees an initiative one way. In other words, my boss has one definition for the initiative, one distinction. There, she is nodding the distinction initiative differently than I'm is nodding the initiative.
So each one of these has their own little is not list.
Right. So this is your boss, and this is you, and this might be your other colleague or something like that. And you're looking at the quote unquote initiative. Each of you has a different is not list for that initiative. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So that's called P circle or perspective circle because there's, in this case, 3 perspectives made up of a point and view, and the view is different for all those points. And
Right.
what we want to do, if we're trying to establish a team is fundamentally based on sharing mental models, which
Yes.
means we don't want them to, when they think of the initiative, we want them to think of the same thing.